Hi, I'm Valerie Getch, creator of Taking Family Portraits Like a Pro video course. If you've just started shooting in RAW, you might be thinking that there's something wrong with Lightroom, because when you import your photos, they look great for a few seconds, and then they turn kind of dull and muddy. There's actually nothing wrong. What you see on your camera's LED, and in those first few seconds in Lightroom, is the JPEG preview generated by your camera. It has contrast, sharpness, saturation, and tone, etc. applied in camera. After you import your images, Lightroom renders its own previews and all those JPEG settings get zeroed out. So that's why you see a color shift. You will work with your RAW file in the Develop module to make it look the way you want and add your own tone and color adjustments. But if you want your newly imported photo to look more like what you saw on the back of your camera, there is a way of doing that using the camera calibration panel, and I'll show you how. The camera calibration panel is located in the Develop module on the lower right, at the very bottom, in fact. There is a series of camera profiles that you can try out. The default one is Adobe Standard, and if you click on the drop-down, you can see additional ones. You'll see Camera Landscape, Camera Neutral, Portrait, Standard, and Vivid. Now these profiles are created by Lightroom based on your camera make and model. So if you have a Nikon, you'll see Nikon profiles, and if you have a Canon, you'll see Canon profiles. And some other major companies, you may see their profiles, or they may be more general profiles, depending on your camera manufacturer. And these profiles mimic the preset in-camera picture styles that you can apply to JPEGs. And the reason why you can't apply those in-camera presets to RAW files is because RAW files are simply data. They're all of the information about your image. While the JPEG images, they're actually developed in camera, so all of the information is already baked in, so to speak, based on your camera manufacturer's settings. So the camera profiles are based on whatever your manufacturer calls them, so some of the profiles you might see could be a little bit different than what you see here. And the default, as I said, is Adobe Standard, but honestly it's quite boring, as you can see from this image here on the screen. So you can try out different profiles to see which one you like best. Now generally the camera standard is a pretty good one. In this case, it didn't do a whole lot. It looks a tad better, I think, than the previous one. But go ahead and try these others. Here's Camera Landscape. And see, you can already see that gives you a little more pop. Camera Neutral, let's see what that does. Now that looks pretty blah. Camera Portrait is a little bit better, but more appropriate for a portrait. And then Camera Vivid is going to give you much richer colors. So let me just pop back from there. That's the Camera Vivid, and this is the Camera Landscape. So you can go and you can use either one of these. I think would work quite well, and this would give you something closer to get you started in the Develop module. This will get you closer to what you saw on the back of your camera and when you first imported your images into Lightroom for those first couple of seconds. So again, this is just a starting point. You'll want to make some other tweaks to your images and make them really look great. So also, if there is a profile that you think you'll be using often, say the Camera Vivid, you could create a preset for it. In the Develop module, just set the camera profile, but don't make any other changes to any of these other panels. Just make sure you have everything else zeroed out. And then click over here on the left, you want to just click on the plus under Presets. And then you just want to click on Calibration checked. So you would uncheck everything else here, just check Calibration, and then you can give your preset a name such as Calibration Vivid. And then you can apply it to images upon import or during the Develop process, and it will appear on the left-hand panel here. It will appear with all of your other presets. Remember that this is only a starting point to help get your images to look more like they did on the JPEG previews, and it only works if you're shooting in RAW. Camera calibration settings can only be applied to RAW files. JPEGs will only list the embedded profile created by your camera. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you would hit the like and the subscribe buttons below. Thanks. Do too many of your family photos look like this? Or like this? How would you like your photos to look more like this? Or maybe this? My new Taking Family Portraits Like a Pro online video course for beginners will show you how to take your photos from blah to amazing. And you don't need a bunch of expensive equipment. I'll show you how to choose the right lens, give you tips on lighting, posing, backgrounds, and camera settings to capture beautiful portraits. And then I'll show you how to enhance your photos using Adobe Lightroom. Click here to learn more and get a coupon for special savings.